Hey everyone, Rodney here. You're welcome to The Young God, a podcast for gods. Today I'm joined by two members of the Consent Workshop, an NGO that is focused on tackling the issue of sexual consent in our society, based right here in Abuja, Nigeria. And what started out as a conversation about consent opened up into something about sex in general. Who knew that consent had so many layers and angles, and there's just so much nuance to the subject. We explored everything from sex work to how the manner in which you lose your virginity affects how you relate to sex. We talked about, if sex has value and if it's possible to put too much value on sex, and it's just what consent entails and just the different angles. It's a very tricky subject, in case you didn't know. And we did our best to have an open and honest conversation about, our lives and, what we hope to see in the world. So, it gets deep. You're welcome, and I hope you enjoy it. It's about an hour long. So just grab a drink, do some laundry, whatever it is you do to kill time, and enjoy the show. Let's get the show on the road. Guys, you're welcome to The Young God, a podcast for gods.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yes. Finally, I'm here with Kella and Felix of the Consent Workshop. And so today we're talking about sex work and consent. But first, why The Young God? Like, why did you decide this was the platform? Especially because I've not been known particularly to talk about sex that much or things of that nature on my podcast.
Okay, first time I knew about your podcast was Aisha came on your podcast. So again, she's one of my close friends, and she put in out, so I checked it out. And again, I've known you for years, but not really personally. But I know what you're about, and you're a very opinionated person. I saw your investigative journalism on Kuza. I thought that was hilarious, bro, man. You're like a rock star, man. You know about the whole world. You were, man.
Changed my motherfucking life, man. That period, yeah.
Sheesh, but it was dope. So yeah, man, and I thought, okay, why not give it a shot? I think also at the Consent Workshop, we need more outlets where interact with different people, and it will help spread the message. You have a platform, and I feel like your platform is a credible platform for us to come on. So yeah, that's why.
Alright, I'm happy to have you guys, because I have thoughts. I'm looking for the perfect opportunity to say some things, and I think you guys have given us that. So what I ask is that we just have an honest conversation and try to get to the truth of things, and just a balanced conversation so that no one is left out and people actually are able to take something out of this and move forward. So why did you guys decide to put up the Consent Workshop? How did that even become a thing?
For me, the reason why I joined Consent Workshop, two of my close friends were raped, my female friends, really close friends to me, and for years, I was enraged, but I didn't know how to go about it. So Uche hit me up in DMs, maybe 2017 December. I was like, yo, I need, I'm starting Consent Workshop, and I need your help, personal, anything you think you can help us with, I'm open to it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, no problem, because literally I have her on all my social media platforms, but just hello, how are you? I know that she's playing Fortnite with my brother and all that, but personally. So when I felt I was ready, so I hit her up, okay, I'm ready to help, anything you need me to start with photography, and from there it came about. And I like what she did, because at first it was her exposing rapists on Twitter. You get, and for her to go a step further to take it to the next level, and made it an actual organization that has backing by the Canadian government. Also fund it as well. That's something remarkable.
They're funding it as well?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They give grants and stuff.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah. Again, what she's been able to achieve in this short form, and all the way she's in Toronto and eat having legs in Nigeria, in Ghana, the thing in the Caribbean and in the UK is remarkable.
Wow.
Yeah, so like it's a solid team.
Oh, you guys, this is a very serious thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just joined newly,
Yeah.
earlier this year. And I've known Uche for a while as well, but social media. And I just really love confident women.
Yeah.
And she's just one of the people that I've known on Twitter who talks about their opinions, shares them
Unapologetically.
yes. And so
See the way you said yes.
yeah, because it's
She gives you
admirable.
them,
And so I've been following the concept workshop, and I've I said earlier, I've been looking for a way to also share my own opinions and my views, and just a platform that allows me to speak out and hear others as well. So yeah, the opportunity came up, and they were looking for a Twitter, someone to run their Twitter account. I love Twitter.
Yeah?
Yeah, love things on media, social media. And she was like, yeah, sure,
Let's do this.
let's do it.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I get a sense of your individual stories and how you got into this. So, what about consent gets you the most? Where do we even begin this conversation from?
I just think the idea that most people don't even think consent is important, I think that's what gets to me. Because you bring it up as a conversation, and people are like, oh no, who has time for that, blah blah. Such a unimportant conversation. It's oh, who even has time to talk about this during? But it's consent covers everything. It's not about sex. It's how we go about our daily lives. You can't do things without another person's permission.
Consent,
Or do you get what I mean? Just agreeing to something.
Yeah.
It's day-to-day conversations. So if you can't understand that, or you find it hard to understand, how are you going to apply that to other intimate situations? So I think for me it's just I want to be part of a conversation that spreads awareness and highlights the importance of consent. So
How about you, Dwayne?
Yeah, for me, what pisses me off is the fact that some people feel like concept is a difficult concept to understand, but it's plain and simple. You get you need someone's approval to go out to do certain things or go about certain things. We also see these things when we have workshops. We invite people to come in and they're asking questions, and we're just are you kidding me? How can it be this difficult? It's plain and simple. You get, and some people don't know that consent can be redrawn. You get, so there are so many things that we see and just damn. That's why even when we give out the forms for people to fill, we see that we still have a long way to go. Even men, sometimes men in their 40s come through and we hear what they are saying. I'm just nah, man, this what fails me to okay, this thing is bigger. You still have a lot of work to do.
Okay, so I picked up something when you were speaking, how you're still surprised by how people view consent, right?
Yeah.
And you feel like it should be a basic thing. But I think this is one of those situations where empathy is very important, because no one knows the rules, and then it doesn't help that we've been conditioned over time. So me, I can personally understand why someone would be consent all of a sudden.
Sure.
So I think one of the good ways to tackle this thing is to first put ourselves in that position. What would I have to be or how would I have to be raised to not understand what consent is? Because if you can do that, you can probably now know how to come at these people. Because from what you just told me now, those guys genuinely didn't understand. They weren't trying to be assholes necessarily. They were
they didn't just do.
They just know.
They just do.
but it's just at the same time, it's I know you might not necessarily understand, but why don't you want to just listen and learn? A lot of people don't want to learn. It's just this is what I know and this is what I've gotten by, and that's it. I don't need to listen to you guys telling me this is what consent is, blah 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 blah. And that's what gets you into sticky situations.
Right.
And it's you have people, or you have for example the consent workshop, actively telling you this is what you need to do, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But you just don't want to listen. You don't want to learn. And I think that's what is also annoying. because people are so stuck in their ways.
Yes, yeah.
But it's like we're not going to move forward as a society if we don't open our ears. Like even me, there are people that will say some things and I'm just like, this is ridiculous. But it's like, no, before I make that judgment, before I just like cast you away, let me listen.
Right.
You listen to me, I listen to you, we talk, and we learn.
With my brother, with my friends, we often talk about these things like how can we be better? Like how do you, like when you're in situations with a woman, how do you handle yourself? And I found that naturally people just don't understand. This is like more complicated than just like rape is one thing.
Yeah.
But who knew that there are little like microaggressions that are possible in the realm of sex and beyond? That's what people need to understand now.
Yeah, but you see, that's why we want to create an environment in general where, regardless of the situation you're in, nothing like that is going to happen.
Right.
Do you get what I mean?
Right.
So I know you're going to say, obviously, there are bad people out there, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But then we don't want, obviously it's idealistic, but we don't want instances where women are being taken advantage of, regardless of if they put themselves in that situation.
Right,
Do you get what I mean?
right.
It shouldn't be a punishment. Okay, I got drunk, I was in his house, I shouldn't have been there, that's why, but then he raped me, blah, blah, blah. That shouldn't be the end. Do you understand what I mean?
She should be safe
She should be
wherever,
safe
even
regardless.
if she puts herself
in
there,
that situation.
she
We shouldn't be thinking of, but why were you there, blah, blah, blah. We should be thinking of creating spaces, environments, do you understand, where we're not afraid that something is going to happen. So obviously they're lucky in the sense that it was you. Do you get what I mean? But like there are other situations where men take advantage of that. Yes.
Yeah.
And
so many.
I know we want to say, or you want to say, you shouldn't go there in the first place. But we find ourselves making mistakes in life in general, or decisions in general that don't necessarily like benefit us. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't only have to be in something sexual. I mean in general.
If you're on one hand telling guys to, you know, behave themselves and to be more sensitive, and in fact that is like so key. Like I believe any guy should be able to like read a situation and know like when it's time and when it's not. But on the flip side, it's like control what you can control. That's the way I see it, because the world is the world. Regardless, you always find yourself, it's like saying you don't wanna get mugged and then you carry your Gucci and your stuff and you go to Mushin or somewhere where like muggers are all over the place. I mean, at some point it's like I fucked up.
But then if it's like that, we're not going to go to any places when it concerns, like in this situation, the girl was clearly attracted to you. That's why she went to yours. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she clearly, in some sense, like wanted to be there.
In most situations,
So why
it's
is it
like
that? Why should we now think?
It takes a lot of sensitivity, which a lot of people don't have. Men especially are not raised to be able to see these things. So while we're trying to make that conversation happen where guys are becoming sensitized towards that, in the meantime, what do? You know, it's like coronavirus. There's no, like before the cure comes out, all you can do is protect yourself before the cure,
It happens.
you know, is created.
Like for me, I think it's also being a decent human being. Just about being a decent human being. This is stuff I've learned from when I was a youngin. You get, like even before this whole consent movement, you know, happened. Me, I just feel that I've been instances where girls come to the house, everything, like, you know, they will expect that you make moves, and I'm this kind of person where if I don't get clear consent, bro, you get me? I never want to be in sticky situations, you feel me? Then again, I have a few times when babe would diss me like, man, nigga, you're darling.
Exactly. Like,
we won't say, man, no dick, nigga,
Let's leave that.
So I'm like, yeah, man, cool, but like, I'd rather be that than be a rapist, or you get me, or be in a sticky situation. That's just me looking out for myself, at the end of the day, because like you did not give me clear consent, and if I don't get clear consent, nah, man, I'm good.
And people always think people always seem to think that rape is actually about sex, but most times it's about power. So you see where like you're saying I'd rather be a whatever they call you or blah 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 than a rapist. most men, I don't want to say Muslim, but there are men out there that are raping because it's like power for them. I'm taking over control of something.
Yeah.
Like it's not even like, oh, I'm having sex, because like we said, you can get sex anywhere. Do you know what I mean? But it's almost like, I can't do this. I don't want to be seen as this. I want to be seen as a man. So it goes back to that culture of even like, oh, a manly man, or trying to be this, or trying to prove to your boys, or trying to prove to society.
And you're clearing out numbers. You're doing numbers.
So when like, if you know you're wise enough, or you're just sensible enough, you just know that you don't force yourself upon someone.
Yeah.
It's not like, I'm not doing it because, oh, I'm so grabbed, or I need to have sex right now. It's literally like, you don't need to do that to that person. You're literally hurting another person. So why? Even if that person is butt naked right in front of you, just take it as, this one doesn't know anything better. But I do. So, let me back up.
People, don't value sex as much as they should. What is sex? It's an act of vulnerability. It's intimate. It's basically you undressing yourself and being like who you are in front of another person. And then things enter places. And that's not a small thing. To me, at least, I don't feel like,
But if you tell you, like, sex not a big deal, I'm like, bro.
See, I was like,
sorry. So to you guys, sex is not a big deal?
See,
no.
I went to high school.
My mom listens to this, but
it's
not a big deal.
Like, see,
wow.
The high school I went to in Lagos, I don't want to put them on blast, but like, it was rampant, like, it was nothing. It's like from when we were like 14, like 15. You get like,
do you know how like your hormones are acting at that stage? Teenagers, it's like this.
Exactly.
You're like a dog.
You see.
And again, boarding school again, so niggas finding places to get.
So you see now as an adult that we're supposed to now suddenly. See, that's what we messed up.
Then,
earlier then was when we're supposed to putting those things in place.
Exactly.
Sex education, knowing
and that's what we're doing.
Exactly, literally going into primary schools, secondary schools, talking to them.
And part of that is letting them know how serious sex is. Sex is basically the answer to life itself. It's attached to money, to power, to family, to children, to your sense of self, to love. Like, sex is central to life.
But I feel like you put so much weight on
I make it like a taboo.
Yeah, like it's like you've put so much weight on this singular act that you don't even know how to have a conversation around it anymore. People literally shy away from the conversation of sex. Literally, and the funny thing is that everyone is having sex.
Yeah.
Children, whatever age they start being active. The only thing we can do is to have a conversation about consent from early years. Talk to them, talk to your children, talk to your students, talk to anyone about sex. Because it goes on every day. Everyone is having, but tying so much into it is where it becomes sticky.
Okay, let's look at it this way. The manner in which you lose your virginity determines how you treat sex and relationships going forward.
Huh?
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
No, I don't think.
Let me put it like this. Hold on. Like I said, unpopular opinions today.
This is so unpopular.
Yeah, reason it. Think of how, if you're someone who lost your virginity as a kid, that messes you up.
Why?
Not necessarily.
If you're
a kid, that's what do you mean by a kid?
Like, if you lost in the manner where you were like molested by your uncle or in this situation, if you lost when you were raped, if you lost it to someone that you didn't care about, who it was just a thing, like just
someone that you trusted,
like all those different things determines how you value it. Because if imagine your first time having sex was you paid a prostitute or a sex worker,
or someone paid for,
for you, like it changes.
No, I don't
how
think
you see it.
I think you place too much value on sex.
I think you place too little value on sex.
Like
there's a reason why we tell our kids to have sex when they're ready and to have sex with people that they care about. Your first encounter with sex matters. If you lost your virginity as a young guy to the housemaid, you're fucked.
Wow.
Going forward.
Okay, sorry. Like, that's rape,
Your relationships going forward is gonna be like, sex will be like, if you're not having sex with me, what else is there? as opposed to a guy who his first was a girl he loved or liked, and they took their time and they went through the proper dance and they did it. Whatever happens from there, he will always have this idea that sex is something to be cherished, to be waited for. In fact, if anything, I think that people don't like.
We're not in a fairy tale.
But still,
it's still, coming from.
Yeah.
It's not a fairy tale, but it's actually the story of my life.
Okay.
Yep.
While you let that one sink in, why don't you take some time to subscribe to this podcast and follow The Young God on Instagram at The Young God Pod. Also follow on Twitter at I Am The Young God. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to get some feedback, and I'd like to continue the conversation anywhere else. What else? Oh yeah, you can also leave a 60-second voice note via the link in the description of this podcast. It's a good way for me to hear your voices and hear your feedback directly, and if it makes sense, I can add it to future episodes and give you a response, so do try that out. Alright, let's get back to it.
But you know what, regardless of whether, okay, you're placing too much value or placing too little value on sex, regardless, there should be consent, should be present. End of. Do you get what I mean? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry when
We're not arguing that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Jan, I'm so sorry to people who have, please, I don't want to sound sensitive, but I'm so sorry to people who have not necessarily had the best experiences with sex, whether it was when they lost their virginity or whether it was after or whatever, or are there people who have had the best experiences. I'm just saying, your next experience, there should be consent. That's the basis of having sex with anyone. Do you get what I mean?
And
you should know that the person you're about to have sex with you wants to have sex with you.
Yeah.
End of. That's even just the seed. The seed.
Basic.
The basic. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like where we have people I know with trauma, okay, or like someone says sex is just like, it's just sex, I'm just having sex with this person, or someone says I'm in love with this person. That person that you now want to have sex with, do they want to have sex with you? Have you guys like agreed to having sex? Have you guys laid out your boundaries? Do you know what that person wants? Do you know what that person likes? That's all. That's the least we're asking for. Because we don't want to be in any situation where you're saying now someone has been raped. We don't want to be in another situation where you're the rapist, knowing the trauma you've gone through. We don't want you placing trauma again on another person. And that is even putting trauma on yourself.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? So I think our conversation shouldn't be about whether we value sex so much or whether we place little value on sex. But our conversation should be concept.
But that's the thing. If you value something, you treat it with respect. If you value something, you would want it under the right circumstances. You would want the person that you're doing it with physically, mentally, and agreed upon. So if you're having this conversation, tell people that sex isn't just, it isn't just because you want it.
But see, what she's trying to say is that, see, whether you place so much value on sex or you place little value on sex, this consent should come in play in every single situation.
What I'm saying is, if someone doesn't value it, consent means nothing.
Well, you know why? Like, for example,
but again, for this thing to not be an issue, you get me? I feel like we're holding people accountable, like you said, like you talk to your friends, like personally. Like I do that with my friends. Yeah, because I know that a lot of them, everybody was raised different. Everybody has had different experiences. But like, the ability to unlearn all those things that you thought was right, that are wrong. Be receptive to new information and be able to adapt with the times. You feel me?
Yeah.
So like you said, you already doing the good thing here, like talking to your friends, which I do constantly. Yeah. You get, and if you do that, all these things will not be happening. You get me? That consent will be a normal everyday thing in life.
But how can you fix consent if you don't go back to the underlying reasons why consent is so like difficult to understand?
Is
You
it
can't-
difficult
it's
to
not
understand?
difficult.
I feel like it's so easy.
It's so easy.
Exactly.
And again,
and that's when we go back to empathy. To you, it's so easy. To me, it's so easy. But I can envision a scenario where, if I'd made certain decisions as a young adult,
Yeah.
I might not feel the same way I am right now.
Like,
So you have the privilege of being who you are and thinking the way you do. But someone else who doesn't have that, I feel like the conversation is different.
it's different. Like, and again, like for me, like I have, even growing up, I have a lot of female friends.
Yeah.
They're having like proper conversations about their
Yeah.
experiences and stuff. So also me learning, okay, how not to move and not to move.
Yeah.
And again, the same issue. You see guys like, then well, how do you have all these women around you? Why aren't you? You get me feeling that I'm sniping all of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
You get, so that they just see women and all they see is sex. Like you get, like they can't even be friends with a woman except they're having sex with them. So like already, like them, they are raised different and they don't understand. Like, yo, the reason why you guys, like, I know this much is because having honest conversations with them and knowing, okay, these are things I should not do and these are things I should do. You get, but I feel like, men need to be having more honest conversations, even with the opposite sex.
Yeah.
So all these things will change your perspective on things.
I feel like you're very right, actually, because I feel like part of my upbringing, my education, so to speak, was I was fortunate to have like a lot of older women as friends when I was younger. In fact, my first girlfriend, she was older than me. You get, so naturally I was always hanging out with older women, and I got to understand a couple of things. But think of a guy who just hangs around his guys, and then you come to date. Now he's maybe turning 30, and you come to tell him today that, bro, do you know that you have to like become sensitive about what a woman wants? He's like, what are you talking about? So if you're gonna fix, I'm saying like your work is very hard. That I'm trying to show you, like, it's not as simple as telling someone that you should make sure that she's ready and willing. You have to like let them like understand why they think the way they do, and then you can now like get into that. If you just come at me and be like, bruh, do you know that that time that you thought that she wanted it, she didn't want it, like, how are you even gonna understand? So you have to like empathize. But even with women who for the longest time didn't know that they were being forced. Some people thought it was normal. Like, where did you even begin to have that conversation? So consent is it might seem as simple as a yes or no, but that's how, when we try to oversimplify a very serious issue that has caused a lot of trauma, pain, has made it impossible for people to heal and grow. You can't just treat it with kid gloves. You gotta like really understand the psychology of things, because, man, like,
see, you do find there are people, even women out here, that feel like the only way they have had sex or sex should happen is if you are coerced. So you get me? And I was like,
that's actually crazy, because that's so true.
It's so crazy.
You hear, and again, like, you hear some people on Twitter like, oh, like she, like, she's saying no, but her body saying yes. Like all these some dumb questions. Like if she's resisting but she wants it, you get, like, we have a long way to go. I feel like so many adults don't still understand the concept, which is so simple. Like, it's so simple. You get, and again, I also saw this. Let me digress a bit. I don't know if you saw Olini's thread on like consent in relationships. Seeing like a lot of girls like being raped by their partners, their boyfriends, their husbands and stuff. Even like people that are married, they even know consent. That, okay, fine, yes, you are married to her. If she doesn't want to have sex in that time, and you force yourself through, that's rape. You get, like, these are so many scenarios that we are seeing here. So like, man, we still have, I know we have a long way to go, but I feel like, after this podcast is released, a whole lot of people will have better understanding of.
I believe so. Sorry.
And like, unfortunately, like, I know you are talking about like people who have had like bad experiences, and how do we now like teach them? Fortunately, like, we're not necessarily like therapists. We can only have conversation, and we can only like tell you this is what you're supposed to do. If you know that you've had bad experiences and that is now like influencing like your decisions in like your sexual life or whatever, you should see someone.
You see a therapist.
See some. Do you get what I mean? It's now. It's not now. It's not on anyone else but you. All we're just saying is that when you're about to have sex, there should be some sort of conversation.
Clear consent.
Clear consent. Do you know what I mean? because you don't want to ever be in a situation where like you're taking someone else's.
Have you considered how difficult that conversation is to have?
What consent?
Yeah.
It's literally
It's easy.
so easy.
So easy.
It is?
It's
It
the
is so
easiest
easy.
thing.
You get like.
You see, I love how you guys I love how you guys find it so easy.
But like,
You don't think it's
you see,
easy?
like, the only thing, I saw that Oluni's thread, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, wait, how are these men having sex with women
I don't want to have sex with them.
that one don't want to have sex with them? Two, they're not even having conversation on what each other likes. You get me? Like, okay, now, someone gave consent for vaginal sex, but midway through, you're switching up to anal. Person didn't give you consent for that. So like, I'm wondering like why people having sex with people and when they don't know what this other person likes, what are the boundaries are. You get, because like once you start hitting someone's crossing the line of someone's boundaries, there's a thin line between actually being a rapist or you get me, a sexual predator and stuff. So like I said, always have conversations before with the person that you want to have sex with. Know their boundaries, know like stuff about them, know if they want to have sex with you or not.
And that's why I keep tying in sex work. They set their boundaries. If it's you're paying for a kiss, if strippers for example, there's some strippers that like give you lap dances or like you can pay for I don't know the terms or whatever, whether maybe to have sex or whatever,
Yeah.
or you have to pay to touch. Do you understand?
Right.
So it's like if you pay to watch me strip, that's the first boundary. You want to pay to touch. There's that.
Yeah.
You want to pay for a lap dance. There's that. You want to pay to go home. I know there's money being involved in this, but at the same time, there's still a conversation going on about what she wants or what that person
And
wants.
the boundaries are clear.
And it's set. Is it going to happen? Even if you might want to pay, she might say no. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It might be part of my services, but today I don't want that.
But see, you know why it's not the same? Because if you go to a strip club, or if you go to a what do you call the place where
Brothel?
or go to a brothel. Once you get in there, their job is literally sex. So it's like you already know what you're getting into once you cross their boundaries. But when it comes to two people who are in the comfort of each other's homes or whatever, it becomes different because one. Hold on.
But those brothels still have rules. They
have rules, but the key thing here is sex is the commodity. Sex is like the thing. You're going there for sex. You're not going there for companionship or something, or going there for a other business meeting or to eat. Sex is the thing. So it only makes sense that you can freely have that conversation.
Okay, so basically you're talking about an instance where it's like it's just two of you guys chilling. Now it's like I don't know.
Yeah,
But you should know.
You should know.
No, but you should have a conversation. It's like we don't need to make this harder than it is. If I'm not yours, for example,
let's act it out right now.
Yeah. I've come into your. No, in fact, we've been texting because I'm not some random stranger that's just going to show up at yours. Maybe a club. Okay, let's
start with random strangers because random strangers do that.
Okay, let's say
random strangers in your house.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's say from the club. Let's say from the club.
No, you have to paint a picture for me because I don't understand a random person just.
I mean, like if we're gonna do this, right? Let's go from the situation of you're that lady, you've come, and how do we start this conversation? Okay, you're here now.
Firstly, you are already asking me that I didn't know you. You said to me that you don't know me, but you're in my house. Firstly, I'll be like, why am I doing that? Because you already said that. But like,
you are brave, Sha. You are brave.
I already know for sure. And personally, I already know that just because a girl comes to my place doesn't mean.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. She might just have wanted to chill. So now she came with the intention of having sex, for example. If like I went to someone's with the intention of having sex, I mean, there are different ways in which the conversation can be had. Like, firstly, are you guys flirting? From flirting, are you saying things to each other? Should we? I don't need to. It's even like, oh, like, are you trying? Like, You know what I mean? Like I'm having a
But again,
conversation.
like people just make these things complex. That it's just really simple.
It's literally so simple. I mean, we're flirting and it's like, oh, okay. It can literally just be, are you trying to blah blah blah? Are you comfortable?
Yeah.
What do you like? Things like that. And then if it's not flying, it's not flying now.
Yeah, then
if I'm not on it, I'm not on it. If you're not on it, you're not on it. We continue the chilling.
But how do you know? How do you know when it's the right time to have that conversation? And then how do you know? Because one
Come
thing.
on, you're playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you've had like you can read situations as well when you can have like that conversation. You know when you can have that conversation.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that you know when you can have that conversation. You're not just going to spring it out of the blue.
But see, we have the gift, or rather the privilege of being emotionally intelligent and knowing how to navigate these things. The vast majority of society is not emotionally intelligent.
Okay, so I'll tell those people.
Yeah.
If someone shows up at your house and
Yeah.
you're not sure if she wants to or she doesn't want to or he wants to, ask them. Literally ask. Are you trying to have sex?
and it's that simple.
If the person says no, leave it. If you want it to be spelled out, it can be spelled out. That's literally it. If you're not kissing the person and the person says stop.
I'd rather not even try my luck in that way.
Yeah.
Let me know what I'm getting into first from the jump.
You think sex workers don't value sex?
Yeah.
Excuse me, come on. I think that's unfair.
To
To
who?
think that sex workers, just because they're sex workers, doesn't means that they don't value sex. They might not value sex, per se, with their customers, but they're sex workers fall
So
in
they
love
have
too.
boyfriends, yeah.
They have boyfriends, they have husbands, they're people that, do you get what I mean? And they will value sex with their partners.
Sex is different from a relationship with someone you actually care about. Like you can not have sex with someone and still care about them. But I feel like once you put yourself in a situation where you're getting paid to have sex with random people,
To them, that's their job. That's their everyday
Yeah.
job. Yeah, and they see that as it.
Yeah, literally.
and that is the crux of it. Once sex becomes transactions, would you partake in it?
In what?
Sex work.
You know, there are different forms of sex work. You will catch me at the strip club for sure.
Okay.
But I wouldn't necessarily pay for sex, no.
Would you be paid to have sex? Can you imagine a situation where you would be paid to have sex?
No,
Why not?
I don't want to.
Some jobs like $1 million now. It's
They
in
drop
cash.
$1
$1 million.
for
Yeah.
me to have sex.
Yeah.
No. I don't know. I've never been in that situation, so I
But-
honestly can't give you an answer.
If you can say to yourself, I'm willing to let all kinds of people do their business inside of me and get paid for it. I get if you're having issues in life. I get if there are all kinds of things. But once it becomes like normalized that
The people paying for sex as well, are you?
they're also complicit in the whole
Okay,
thing.
they don't. To you, they don't value
They don't value
sex.
sex.
as
They
well.
don't value sex.
Even worse than the sex workers. I think theirs is even worse because to you sex is just something you can get. It's not something that you earn. It's not something that is the means of releasing stuff as opposed to connecting with someone.
Yeah.
I guess it's just my value system. Like everyone has where they rank
So you
things
hate
and
sex
how things.
workers?
I don't hate them. I said to you already, like if it's legal, if it's legal, more power to them. I don't feel like anyone should suffer doing what they have to do. Like basic human rights apply. But I would never say to someone, I would never like justify it. I wouldn't say to someone, oh yeah, good to do that. That's just
Okay, but
it's
your
literally
sex work is literally
it's the lowest common
paying for
denominator.
sex. That's the part of sex work you don't, or the type of sex work you don't agree with.
Yeah, paying for the act of sex. I don't
Okay.
mind like strippers. I haven't been in a strip club. I look forward to that one day. I look down even more on men that feel the need to like pay for sex or they need to like use money.
Because like
To
you can get
entice a
it,
girl to
because
sleep
you
with
feel
them.
like they can get it anywhere. Like it's
Yeah, it just diminishes. It just man, I don't know.
I shall think like if you
I understand
don't
where
agree
you're
with
coming
yes,
from,
but I
yeah.
shall think it shouldn't be something we now used to say. That's why some people don't understand consent. I think that's ridiculous because the very act of sex work is about consent.
It's not the same.
It is.
That's why we're saying. But
if you
for
want to have
us
this,
to describe it to people, to normal people, that like that's what we're saying. That it should be the same. If you want to understand it, we're saying it's about boundaries.
Same rules
so
apply.
you're saying, how do we break it down to these people? I'm saying this is an example. We should always include sex work into this conversation about like consent, because if you listen to sex workers, if you're paying someone for sex, surely, like there's a conversation that goes on before you have sex with that worker, with that sex worker. Do you get what I mean?
Okay.
Sex workers have told you or have shared their experiences. I'm talking about places where like sex work is legal and everything. They've told you, they've said that, oh, if you pay for this, this is all you're getting. I'm setting my boundaries. They're having these conversations every day with men and with other people they like interact with.
Right.
So if you, as a boy or as a man, are paying someone for sex, you are having that conversation about consent already.
Yeah.
What service do you want? What do you want to be done to you? How does she like it? Blah, blah, blah. So if anything, you should value like that whole conversation about consent and take it into your real life. Even like that conversation you've had with that sex worker is no different from the conversation you should be having with someone else you want to have sex with.
Like for me, I don't necessarily encourage sex work. You get me? But like, I feel like even if it's sex workers, the same rules apply. The same rules that apply for the everyday women apply for sex workers. So basically, if you say it's okay, this money that you're paying, these are all the things that you can do, and these are the limits that you respect her wishes. You feel me? As long as you're paying for it, get your service and bounce. But for sex workers, they see these things happen a lot of times where, because the man has paid, he feels like he has total control over the situation. Like anything he wants, he gets. But that's not it. She has placed the boundaries of what you shouldn't do, even if you are paid.
It's very important that at least you get your perspectives challenged, because you're gonna have to like defend this in more high stakes situations when the time comes, because this is a very important situation, and it's not always good if you're always in a place where
everybody's agreeing.
Definitely.
I know his views already, but he's trying to be on the opposite side of the conversation.
Because we think of how the media culture, most of the songs we enjoy encourage non-consensual, behavior. Both
only rap songs,
R&B. Imagine if you had more musicians create songs like, "Oh baby, if you don't say yes, it's okay."
Oh my God, even
but all the R. Kelly songs, man. All the R. Kelly songs, you like that?
But we're talking about Aaliyah. Aaliyah she literally has a song saying, "If at first you don't succeed, try again. What will it take for you? If I hesitate, will you try harder?" These are literally songs.
Age ain't nothing but a number.
Yeah, do you get? So like these are things we need to think of when we're having consent conversations, because it makes it seem like people just decide to wake up and not understand consent. But there's been decades of messaging, conditioning that has made it so impossible.
Even from our parents' generation. That's why unlearning and learning.
You know what? Even this sex work conversation, I just realized that I've actually just been talking about it from the male perspective, men understanding consent through sex work. But it's like women as well. Like listening to sex workers will let you know, you as a woman, what you want, what you don't like, what boundaries to set. And that kind of makes the conversation of consent easier.
Right.
Because then you know what you want when you're put in that situation. Because like we said, most women don't even realize until after, wait, was I forced, or did I actually want that, blah, blah, blah. So,
Yeah, man. It sounds simple, and I think it's by trying to like oversimplify it that the message gets lost. Like I think you need to really break it down. That why consent is important. I grew up in a time when if I said, "Can I kiss you?" to a girl, she'd be like, "Just because you asked, I don't."
Yeah. That was weak. I remember in secondary school. Yeah. Like you were a lame guy if you had to ask.
If you have to ask,
trust me.
Are you serious? I've always had someone ask me.
That's what I'm saying. But like when we're much younger, man, secondary school we're wild, man. I went to,
Even secondary school, right?
Again, you now have your boy telling like, man, why would you ask? My friend.
So imagine growing up with all of that, and then now over time you're becoming an adult, and you're becoming more and more entitled about stuff, and then some girl now, like, you tried, like, you put yourself out there to kiss her, and she like, be like, no nigga, what?
That's what I'm saying.
That shit will go down.
That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people don't know how to deal with all this kind of things.
Why is it so hard?
Men and rejection is so. That's
but a funny thing. Like, I've also rejected women and they took it the wrong way. So like, okay, is it because I stood so low?
Exactly.
You get me? I'm not like, what are you even talking about?
Reject people. Like, women like to look at
women that
rejection as if it's like the easiest thing. It's not.
But did you know what?
No.
Did the women that came up that were upfront, like, yo, this is what I want, like, yo, I'm about, you get me? I had way more respect for them. You get, like, way more even times when I didn't agree, but like my respect level for them is like, okay, they know what they want and they're upfront about it. I legit had proper respect for them. You get me?
Okay, so here's your mission now. Put out more stuff where girls are saying, I respect the guy who asks. That changes the game. As opposed to making it a thing of you're supposed to know. Make it that a woman is saying out there, a woman say, a guy who asks, I stand.
I mean, we've been saying it for a while.
No, you haven't. I haven't seen that anywhere. All I always see is...
Who are you following? You're still following the same toxic people that are still thinking...
No, I'm saying I'm following people who all they do when it comes to consent is demonize those who get it wrong.
Yeah, but the concept...
As opposed to saying, you know, in very clear and, you know, like having a conversation that draws people in and not excludes.
But you know, we have, like you mentioned, Oloni, who said something, like literally she speaks about consent every single day. Do you get? And she's in her own slogan is even like consent is sexy. Do you get? You can make consent sexy. So it's like, I feel like there are people out there who are telling you we like men that ask. Like I literally don't want someone forcing themselves upon me or just thinking that because blah blah blah, you now think, oh, you're entitled to me. So yeah.
And again, I've had a girl tell me that she had way more respect for me for being upfront and asking.
But if you're dealing with anyone that thinks less of you because you're being like mature and asking,
I've heard that so many times, man.
Same.
So many times, man. So many times. But again, like I think it's just about being a decent human being.
Yeah.
You get me? I'd rather not be in a sticky situation than this is not even for you. Like, yes, so they apply, but for me myself, you get me, certain rules and values that I place on myself, I'd just rather not, you get me, just be upfront. I'm a very straightforward human being anyway. So like I'd rather just let my intentions are clear. If you're not for it, it's cool, there's no problem. We bounce.
We chill.
Yeah.
And self-respect also. I feel like if you respect yourself, if you have some amount of like self-dignity, you would extend that to someone else in situations. You get what I'm saying? Like that basic axiom of do unto others what you would want for yourself. You know, so if you really like, you feel like you care about yourself, you care about, you know, how someone feels about you, and you want to always do the things that, you know, are right.
Yeah.
I feel like anytime I ask a girl politely, or, you know, try and like make sure she's involved, I feel better for it. You know, like every time I exercise that restraint, because the natural default of a human being is to take what they want, to disregard and to go for what is, you know, your direct need. So anytime you find yourself suppressing that desire and putting someone first, that should give you like make you feel better, like, oh, maybe I'm a good person. Maybe I'm not, I don't suck as much as I think sometimes. There's just so many things to consider, and I feel like if you're able to go deeper with the conversation as the concept workshop, you know, it will definitely like make things easier. It will make your message sink in. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense, but for this message to go deeper, we need to like create proper messaging, man. Because think of what they did with drink driving. They literally hammered down our throats the importance of not drinking and driving. So much so to the point now it's like drink responsibly. That's the message.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, bro, how much have you had to drink? Maybe you should order an Uber. or let me drive. Who's the designated driver? There's so many things now we do to protect ourselves. So I feel like if we're able to have something similar when it comes to, consent, drunk sex, all these little other things in a society that people have, don't see the immediate danger, because it's not like drink driving, you could crash and die. But with sex, sexual related issues, like more mental, like the trauma, I think there's worse things than death, if you ask me.
Yeah.
You get, so it's about figuring out the right message and pushing it as often as possible, something that includes everyone, and because in the end we're all victims. Whether you're the guy that forces yourself, or you're the girl that acquiesces to his demands, like we've all been fucked up from the way we've been raised, the messages that we've seen, that if you just really think about it, it's so deep, and we have to like treat it like fucking surgeons, man. We have to like figure out the heart of this matter and get in there.
Double up on the message.
Double up on it, include everyone. If you meet someone that doesn't understand the concept, we gotta like find a way to get them involved, like explain to them, like that's what, like the patience to like, okay, let me take it from the top, young man. Like let's like, instead of being like, how can you understand? It's so simple. The best thing about being a teacher is not forgetting what it's like to be a beginner. Like if you master, like never forget what it's like to be a beginner, because then you can easily understand someone else who is still who's not there yet, and you know how to carry them along, as opposed to the worst teachers who they forget what it's like to not know, and they expect that every mistake you make is a fail, or you're some you missed it. I think these things really matter in our conversations today, because if we keep attacking people for not understanding or for not knowing, it's gonna make all our jobs harder. Yeah, that's really it. But yeah, consent is sexy. Swear to God.
Yeah, and again, do you know why I noticed? Like, this is from personal experience. I taught a class in model secondary school, an SS2 class.
Yeah.
This was like a few months ago. And when I got into the class, the front of the class, I introduced myself, started talking about content. They started giggling. You get me? Like, the girls looking at their fellow boys, like they already know what sex is. Some already are probably engaging in sex already.
They've been there.
They are experimenting with stuff.
Right.
You get, so like, whether we like it or not, like, we need to do a better job, and I feel like those are the formative years.
Yeah.
Those are the formative years. So like, man, we have a lot of work to do, and let's start early so that sensitizing the young people. My parents never talked about sex to me, ever. Like, never. Like,
it was right before uni. My mom was like, "Don't have sex."
But again, what I did for my younger brother, because again, I'm the first, just two of us, that made sure like my brother understood their sex, protection, like all that. The best I could do was be the best elder brother for him, and making sure that he did not make any mistake. And you can see like my brother is a very outstanding person. Like I made sure like personal this thing, because like, see, bro, like, if I again made sure like if anything you need to talk to me about, you can. And I'm happy that I was able to. Some people are not lucky to have that in their life. That no understanding about consent and all these things. I had that with my younger brother.
Yeah, check your friends too, in general.
Yeah, the conversation starts.
Yeah, most guys don't check their friends.
Because, like we said, it's a hard conversation to have. Like, where do you even start? Not to talk of with an actual girl, because no one wants to come off as the perv, as the guy who's thinking about sex all the time. There's also that.
Really? I thought the guys talk about sex a lot.
No, I mean to a girl.
Oh, like I feel like
see, my female friends, we talk about anything. See, like if she
want, a girl, you're wooing, like you're talking.
Okay, we're talking to
like and girls are very like sensitive to that when a guy is just all about sex, right? You can almost smell it on his breath. You get that kind of thing.
Emotional intelligence.
Exactly. So how do you don't want to bring up the conversation and feel like you're moving too fast. At the same time, you don't want to like not have it and then make an even worse mistake, which is to impose yourself. So it's really, really tricky, and I feel like it comes down to being okay with whatever the result is. if you put yourself out there and they say no or whatever, you live with it.
Yeah.
I know rejection is tough, but my own is when people now act upon that rejection like it's now by force. That's where it gets like it should never be like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's where we have
but
to
you're
learn.
allowed to feel like bad or whatever.
Human being at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Human being at the end of the day. So
You know, have you ever been rejected for sex?
Let me think.
If you have to think about it, then this conversation
probably
is
she
not for you.
probably
If you have to think about it.
for girls like it really happens because you know
I don't want to not be like, oh yeah, I have, but like
for guys, you get me.
I mean, I've been rejected where it's like I like someone.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I want something more, and then that person doesn't. That's rejection as well.
Yeah.
But we're talking about yeah. So like me, I've been checking girls and see how they reacted. Sometimes it wasn't cool, man. Like it wasn't cool at all. So again,
I feel like also because we're saying consent, but like even the topic of sex on its own, we're so scared to speak about it, which is so weird because we're not going to get anywhere with consent if we're not even talking about sex.
itself.
Do you get what I mean? So it's like you know how you were saying with your brother, me, my sister, like my younger sister, we talk about sex like all the time.
Yeah.
We started like not to my brother is just 17, but like we started like asking him.
Just 17. He's right about
17.
Okay,
People
fair.
17, man.
Yeah, but like
People are vexed by 17.
yeah, true. But like he's a bit like so we've just
You think
You see him as that.
no,
right?
but we're very open.
Yeah.
All three of us.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Well, I hope like he's open as well, but like he's quite vocal when it comes to like things like that. He might not necessarily say everything, but if something's happened, he's telling us. Yeah. So we have that conversation with him.
Yeah.
He's had the conversation with me. He's been the one to come ask me like, "Can I have you?" Blah blah blah. At first I wanted to slap him like, "What's your business?" but I'm just like, yeah, let me have that conversation with you.
Let me read something out to you guys.
Yeah.
It's by a 12th century poet, and it's a poem he wrote. It's called Coitus Pluralis. Coitus Pluralis. Okay. He said, "Virgins indulge in sex for curiosity, harlots for money, widows for remembering the good old days, wives out of a sense of duty, while the pure pleasure of sex is possible only in adultery." What do you think? Yeah. Yes, sir. That's what he said. Yeah.
That is unhappy.
I think it makes sense.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. Break it down. Think about it. Like, think about it. Don't just like hear what I said and just take it. Think about it. Virgins indulge in sex for curiosity.
Okay.
What
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're trying to find out what's about.
Exactly. Okay. Sex workers for money.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Widows for remembering the good old days.
She might just want to.
She's what is
Yeah.
It's not about good old days.
She might just want it at that time.
How's she's trying to.
Why else would a widow
Not
want to
good
have
old
sex? Obviously, you want to.
Because the same reason why anyone wants to have sex. Like anyone who's been having sex wants to have sex.
Like same as a virgin.
Not a virgin, but you get people that are having sex. It's not
Exactly.
about. Oh my god, I need to. Reminisce about.
Don't forget, a widow is someone who has lost their husband, right?
Yeah.
So it means that they haven't had sex in some time, mostly because maybe society's pressures or whatever else. And if you're doing
morning,
exactly, so I think it kind of makes sense that it's part of it is also like just trying to reclaim or recapture that vigor of when it was it was cool. I mean, doesn't that make sense? Remember the good old days?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Wives out of a sense of duty.
I hate that.
I know you hate that one.
I hate
That's
that line.
that one. I don't.
Do you know why? Do you know why I hate that?
Is it that you hate it or that it's not true?
I'm just.
That's
Why is God also
hate
want it? Because they want it.
Yeah, I hate that this one is only doing it from the female perspective. Virgins, harlots.
Virgins are males are virgins too.
No, the way he progresses
yeah.
now. He goes virgins, he goes harlots. No one calls a man a harlot. He now goes wives. He now goes he goes widowers. Now says wives. Now says something about adultery.
Yeah.
But it's just like the wives one is true, especially in like some cultures and societies, you know. But like at the same time, I think it's ignoring the fact that women actually enjoy sex.
Yeah.
Don't forget, this is a 12th century poet.
Yeah, so the times have changed.
Exactly.
The times have changed, yeah.
So
at that time, that was all they were limited to.
Yeah.
So, I guess in that.
And even
that time, I can
but
understand
I'm sure
it
women, women too that time were they were having sex because they wanted to have sex.
A lot of them were not listening. They just felt that was a duty as their wife.
Yeah. Anyway, I just found it was interesting. I just
the
thought
fact they said pleasure and adultery, man, they were suffering.
Yeah, reason it actually.
That's so sad.
It's sad, but it's the truth because I think the true pleasure of sex can be found if you're doing it with someone who you really care about and you guys are you found your person.
Yeah.
But if you happen to be like in this,
you are giving them wives like. So it might not be the person they desire,
it's just exactly. So that's why the pure pleasure of sex for people like that to be adultery, outside marriage, I think that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think with consent, the main thing, I think the only solution for me right now, like the way I see it is, just man, you don't have to have sex on the first minute with someone. Get to know people. I think you get to know people before you have sex with them. It eliminates.
So now to be weird.
Does it matter?
I'm just being weird and asking.
Aries.
Okay.
Aries. Get to sex isn't going anywhere.
What if you don't want to wait?
Well, I mean, obviously, if you don't want to wait, you can do it. But you're having just for this question of consent, where I think the line becomes more defined the more you get to know somebody. I think if you've talked and maybe over time all those little sexual conversations come in there, you're not talking about things.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
you kind of like that, but
you know,
I thought we were just talking based on first date. Do you wanna?
When do you realize that you want to have sex with somebody?
Yeah.
When do you realize?
When do I realize?
Yeah.
The moment I meet them. Yeah. So yeah.
Sometimes it might take the first date to realize.
Yeah.
The first date, just meeting them. So it might be a conversation.
Yeah.
In the DMs. You get me?
But here's the thing. Just because I realized in the first time,
it doesn't mean that
it's the right thing to do.
It doesn't even mean that the person might be. You get me? You might be wanting I'm going to, but the person might not be on the same wavelength that you are.
I have this rule that for a personal rule, right? Don't have sex with people who have more problems than you. Right? Yeah. Because,
No, but then how would that work? Because
work?
Imagine if someone else had that same rule as you.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't be having sex with someone that had more problems than you. Someone wouldn't be having sex with you because you had more problems than them.
Generally, it's a figure of speech, but generally, you don't want to have sex with people that have unresolved issues,
she's stuck on their ex, all that.
Yeah, things like trauma that they haven't dealt with, all these things, they matter. And those people, in fact, reason they're the ones who are even the most attractive sometimes. There's just something about a damaged person that makes think about it.
So I've heard people say that people say that the sex is really mad.
This is toxic.
Bro, I was like, what?
This is toxic.
What?
So that's what I'm saying, just because you want to have sex with someone on the first, you want to see them, doesn't mean it's a valid feeling. It's a feeling.
Yeah.
It's a feeling, but you don't have to always run on your feelings sometimes. That's why I say sometimes just wait. Just wait. Because as you wait, things reveal themselves.
I mean, but the vibe is right. The vibe is right.
The vibe is right, man. But
what is vibe? If I want to manufacture vibe, what is the man?
No, excuse me, vibe. People always I always say this thing vibes. They're just Kenna, what is you having vibes? I'm just if you know, you know.
If you know, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes, if somebody told me from you guys know, you're going to go down.
Day and days, you just
I'm not saying where babes see, you're wasting my time, bro. I know that you are wasting my time. I'm not here to all these long. I'm not here for long ass conversations
like that as well.
Don't get me wrong, I break my rules sometimes, but the thing about rules is that, and with breaking a rule you set for yourself, it lets you remind yourself that you're not a tyrant unto yourself. That you can, rule. It just gives you a place to have boundaries and limits for yourself.
Yeah.
If not, you'll just be, So I just put it there just as a general rule.
Fair enough.
So obviously the exceptions where this girl is just, she deserves.
The vibe is nice, like
Vibe, you know. She
The
deserves.
vibes.
I'm gonna break my rules for this babe right now. You get that kind of thing. But in general, because man, you fuck around and get in with the wrong person, you just start to.
And then sometimes the vibes are mad, but everything, but just like I'll just rather not. You get me? Like just. Let me just sit this one out.
Let me just sit this one out. Let me see. You know, this is too good to be true, man.
Yeah, so sometimes I'm like that too. Sometimes
Yeah.
like okay, this is or it's going too fast. Let me just slow down.
Let me slow down. You know, and I think that's something else that guys don't often get. Like when I was younger, when a girl used to say to me, "Let's slow down," I used to get it.
I understand. Yeah,
like, what are you slowing down for? But like now, as you get older, like, man, this like sex not running away. It's not running away, and in fact, I feel like even bangs better when you like let that tension build for some time, that sexual tension, and then let that shit explode in like
so please, I want to hear killers. You place too much value on
too much.
That's what I don't want to ad lib just in the clip.
You already know.
Maybe I do, and I quite like that. It's worked for me, man. I guess whatever works for you works for you.
Yeah.
You get it.
No, I'm just messing. Like, whatever works.
Yeah.
At times too, I wait. Do you understand?
Yeah.
At times I do wait.
Yeah.
But just vibes.
Just vibes.
Vibes.
Hey. So why don't you plug the concept workshop? Where we can follow you guys.
Okay. Twitter is at the concept. Hold on. The concept workshop.
Yeah.
So at CONSENTWORKSHOP.
Right.
And then we have Twitter as well.
Instagram.
Sorry, Instagram.
The same thing.
Instagram is the concept workshop.
Right.
Yeah.
We will have workshops
across
the year. We'll be having workshops and we'll put it out on our social media. They follow us on our social media. They can,
you get in touch.
And again, any support, we're open to support. We're open to collaborations with different organizations.
Yes.
There's something we wanted to do a sex worker outreach. Here in Abuja, but we're not able to do that. If we can still,
I bet you guys must have been like really triggered during that time when sex workers were getting like arrested and raped. Like,
I was so
and then, you know the thing, like for me it was annoying because like one of my friends' dads was like, championing, is one of the champions of that move, and it wasn't cool. I never asked her opinion on that, but like it wasn't cool. Like, first of all, not all of them were sex workers. You get me? They just went to bars and randomly picked some women that were not, some that were.
Do you think that's an act of hate?
Some of the sex workers were raped. The police officers using nylon bags of pure water. This thing are having like injuries on their vagina. So that's just crazy. You get me? Like the fact that at that time of 2019 and all these things are happening. And we hear in Abuja like how police, take sex workers and rape them and all the things that happen. People pick up sex workers that don't pay. You get me? Because you feel that they're sex workers that they don't deserve.
Yeah, women have it hard out here, man.
That's what, man. Like I said, like having honest conversation with women, like like the way you understand stuff, you'll be more sensitive to issues about women.
Just thinking lots of people should just listen. Like literally, that's all we ask for. Just listen to us. Like we're not asking for too much. Some people will be like, oh, but you guys hate men. When we're literally just trying to get your attention and telling you that this is what we're going through.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
And let women lead the conversation. Also,
just be out by our side.
Yeah.
Fight with us. But
And again, it's just like some women still. She's trying to sabotage efforts. It's still like women, especially the younger women. But these things will get better, hopefully, and that's why.
No, it will. I think every time we have this conversation, people are gonna hear this. I think even though we had like some differing views on things, the general message is that consent is sexy. Sure. Right?
It's necessary.
It's necessary.
I
think consent is necessary before it's sexy.
And the same rules that apply to regular girls
Yes.
also apply to
sex workers.
Yes.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
the same
Everyone.
rules that apply to regular guys apply to male sex workers.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Thank you guys for coming on the Young God.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for
Dwayne,
having us, man.
Keller, aka Kellogg's, aka Serial Killer,
Oh my
aka.
God.
The name has been butchered.
Yes, and that said, it is a wrap.
Yeah.